Welcome to the 2009 New England Patriot Redraftables. We'll take a look back here at the 2009 Patriots draft, what they did right, what they did wrong. They got some awesome players and they got some busts. Let's take a look back, though, first at how they got there, the 2008 New England Patriots. It was the year without Brady. Brings back some dark memories right now for 2020, as 2020 will be the year without Brady as well. But 2008, Brady infamously tears his ACL week 1 against Kansas City. The Patriots actually finished 11-5, as Ryan Russillo has pointed out many times, a very, very weak schedule, but nonetheless finished 11-5 behind Matt Castle. They do finish, though, 7th in the AFC and missed the playoffs, so this team ends up with the 23rd overall pick due to that missed playoffs. At the time, the offense led by the receiving, but at the running game, 23-year-old Lawrence Maroney only played 3 games that year, so Sammy Morris actually led the team in rushing. Again, the team was a receiving-focused team, which when Brady went out, obviously limited the team. Welker and Moss, Welker 27 at the time, Moss 31, both had over 1,000 yards that season. Behind them, though, there wasn't much. Kevin Falk was the next leading receiver that year at the age of 32. Jabbar Gaffney was the next leading receiver. So obviously the Patriots were looking to pick up some talent in that year's draft. The defense was changing the guards really at the time. You had 2008 first-round pick Gerard Mayo, led the team in tackles. He was supported by 24-year-old Brandon Merriweather, the strong safety, who was second in the team in tackles. And then third in the team in tackles was 35-year-old Teddy Bruschi in his final year with the Patriots. The defense also featured 28-year-old, an absolute stud at the time, Vince Wilfork. The defense was good up the middle. On the outsides, though, they struggled. The 2 corners that year that I saw were Ellis Hobbs and Delta O'Neal. Those don't bring back any good memories for Patriots fans. The offense, it was a top 10 offense. They finished top 8 in points, so obviously they could put up points. And unfortunately, though, where the team fell short, their worst ranking was 31st in the league in red zone defense. So when teams did get down to the end zone, they did score, and that was the undoing of the New England Patriots that they were trying to solve in the draft of 2009. All right, let's get to the Patriots' actual selections in 2009. Patriots ended up with 12 overall selections after they traded their first-round pick twice. Again, they originally had the 23rd overall, which ended up being Michael Orr, the famous blindside player from Ole Miss. They traded with the Ravens to get to 26, and eventually traded 26, where the Packers selected Clay Matthews. The Patriots got a host of things. The notable player out of that, Julian Edelman. So you don't really like to see a trade where the notable piece was a 7th-round pick, but they did pick up a couple in 2nd and 3rd rounders along the way, which is how they ended up with 4 second-round picks. Patrick Chung, Ron Brace, Darius Butler, and Sebastian Vollmer. Before I keep going, I should point out the rating scale I'm using on the right-hand side. The rating scale is a little system I put together where a 5-star player is an NFL Hall of Famer, a 4-star player is a Patriots Hall of Famer, a 3-star player is a Patriots starter, a 2-star player is a Patriots starter or contributor, NFL starter or Patriots contributor, and a 1-star is an NFL player. So in that second round, they did pick up 2 guys that were Patriots starters. Patrick Chung's been with the team for 10 years. Just a brief spill in Philadelphia that we'll go over in a little bit. Sebastian Vollmer played 7 very valuable years with the Patriots, did win a Super Bowl with them. And then the only other real notable player, obviously Julian Edelman, which we'll go into a little bit later. None of the second round guys, were real busts. But Ron Brace and Darius Butler, you already obviously would have liked a little bit more out of. They went back-to-back picks. They played, Brace played 4 years with the Patriots, Butler 2 years with the Patriots, and the 42nd pick in that year's draft was actually Jarius Butler, who played with the Bills and Saints. That was Jarius Byrd, who played 7 years with the Bills and Saints. Valuable contributor, probably would have done more than Butler and Brace, but at that time they were really just looking to add DBs, as I said, with Ellis Hobbs and Delta O'Neal being the corners the previous year. They were just looking for as many pieces to pull in. That's why you see all the draft picks, in my opinion. The second round pick, when there were 4 overall picks, the most notable players from the 2009 draft, Lesean McCoy, Max Unger. At that time, they did have a young Lawrence Maroney coming off an injury, but Still a young guy. You didn't think they would take a running back at the time, but it would have been nice to have McCoy. Then Max Unger turned into a very good center. You kind of take that trade-off. He ended up having a little bit better of a career than Sebastian Vollmer, but nothing wrong with Vollmer with the 58th overall pick. To me, the one that hurts the Patriots all these years back is Brandon Tate. Just another line of misses at the wide receiver position. He only played 2 years with the Patriots before moving on. Was more of a return man, but the miss to me is 84th overall that year. The one pick after Tate was Mike Wallace. Wallace went to the Steelers, obviously had a great career with the Steelers, signed that huge deal with the Dolphins. Can you imagine Welker, Moss, and Wallace all playing with Brady in 2009? That team looks a lot different. The other pick that could have happened was Jared Cook. Jared Cook went around 89th to the Titans. He's had a better second half of his career than the first half of his career, but it's an interesting little wrinkle to me because, hey, if they take a third-round tight end there, maybe 2010, they don't take a guy named Rob Gronkowski. So you'll take, having Gronk over having Mike Wallace, obviously, but a little misfortune. 4th through 6th, not a ton there. They had some guys that did turn into NFL players. Obviously, the notable one is Julian Edelman, who will go to now. Edelman, let's just take a quick look at the overall draft. So Pro Football Reference does a thing where they have the approximate value added of guys drafted by the team they were drafted by. And when you sort that, Matthew Stafford's the first overall with a score of 95, Clay Matthews second with 81, and the Patriots actually had the next two best draft picks that year, guys that contributed to their individual draft team the most. Obviously, LeSean McCoy had the Chip Kelly issues in Philly. That's why he's not higher on this. But Edelman and Vollmer, two of the top guys from that draft that stayed with the teams they were drafted on, enough to contribute by a pretty high margin, which is what you like to see. Obviously, that's what happens when you have 12 picks, and that's what Bill Belichick's strategy is a lot. Let me take those 12 picks and see what I can find. So that's how they got the 58th overall and then a 7th rounder to be the highest contributors from that draft. Let's take a little bit more specific look at the guys they drafted. First, we'll look at the second round guys. Patrick Chung, just an absolute heck of a career. He has been fantastic. The interesting note about Chung, he was originally traded for Matt Castle and Mike Vrabel, obviously two key guys of the early 2000s and mid-2000s for the Patriots. Castle coming off that great year, and Vrabel moving towards the end of his career. But Bill Belichick used those old guys to turn to new guys, and he turned two guys very valuable to the early century for the Patriots into Patrick Chung, who's been a very valuable guy for the second half of the century. 3 Super Bowls for the Patriots, 153 games played, 778 tackles. Nothing shabby. He's been a jackknife, Swiss Army knife, for them. Does a little bit of everything with man coverage. Can play in the box. Great compliment to 2010 draft pick Devin McCourty. Interesting note about Devin McCourty. Jason McCourty was in this 2009 draft. He was drafted 203rd overall in the 6th round to the Tennessee Titans. Could have been an interesting wrinkle if the Patriots had liked him enough to select him back then. He's obviously been a valuable contributor in years recently for the Patriots, but maybe instead of a guy like Darius Butler or Ellis Hobbs they had in 2009-2010 range, maybe McCourty steps in earlier and we had some better years, 2010 to 2012 or so. But going back, Ron Brace didn't really play much of the Patriots, did last on the team for 4 years, kind of a rotational defensive tackle, never played more than 13 games. And Darius Butler, the one you really would have hoped would have worked out a little bit better, played 2 years with the Patriots, did turn into 3 interceptions and 58 tackles. Did have a lengthy career, obviously went through 2017, most notably with the Indianapolis Colts. So a good little career for him. And then going down the list, Sebastian Vollmer. 7 years, obviously not exactly well-known, German. Made the 2010 All-Pro list and also made the 2012 and 2014 second-team Pro Football Focus list. So great player. The stat that jumped out at me, obviously it's tough with tackles of how many stats they have, but 5 holding penalties in 7 years, pretty damn impressive. And then retired after the 2015 season. He did win 1 Super Bowl with the Patriots, 2014 Seattle Seahawks. And then Tate, we kind of touched on, mostly a return man. Played 2 years with the Patriots. Did end up lasting, a 10-year NFL career. So maybe it could have turned on a little bit more for the Patriots, but was never really there for a receiver. And then the receiver, though, out of this draft, it's clearly Julian Edelman. It took a couple years to develop. Obviously, return man, defensive back for a little while there before Moss and Welker moved on. He really stepped in. The career numbers are just fantastic. 131 games played, over 6,000 receiving yards. He'll top 600 catches this year. But to me, he's got an 802 career regular season win percentage. This guy just is an absolute winner. Obviously, a lot of that with Tom Brady, so we'll see what happens this year. But to go along with his regular season stuff, he was voted to the NFL Top 100 in 2014, 2016, 2017, and 2019. And his playoff stats are just incredible. Second all-time in career receiving yards and career receiving receptions to the great Jerry Rice with those 118 receptions and 1,400 receiving yards. He just turns it on when it matters most, and absolutely a Patriots Hall of Famer and possibly an NFL Hall of Famer for his work. With that being said, that wraps up our 2009 Patriots Redraftables. Thank you for joining us. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.